subscribe.
An FBI official in Atlanta has confirmed the Bureau's investigation and its interest in Stanley Galkin. But the FBI would not identify Galkin's associate, the masquerader who took part in the Ike Atkinson hoax. Associate Attorney General Egan acknowledged that he is aware of the FBI investigation of the hoax, but he did not elaborate. The FBI has been investigating the case for several months now, but it has not been referred for criminal prosecution. If that is done, the charge would apparently be impersonation of a federal official. Even if there are no criminal charges, both the FBI and the Senate Investigations Subcommittee are known to be aware of other serious allegations relating to the Galkin-Atkinson relationship.
So Ike Atkinson was such a fat target in terms of just being seen as having so much money and being a guy who was more into trying to bribe and pay his way out of trouble than homicide his way out of trouble, which Frank Lucas and Nicky Barnes were known for. And so these guys, well, a real lawyer who was in trouble financially brought in this guy to try to pose as somebody. I'm not sure what ended up happening with them. But, okay, so if you don't know who Ike Atkinson is, if you remember the movie American Gangster, Denzel, Frank Lucas goes over to Thailand and he meets the people in the jungle. And there's a little reference to where he has a cousin, Ike or Leslie, who has a bar there, and he just sort of uses them as an introduction. Well, the real story is Frank Lucas never went to Thailand, but Ike Atkinson was definitely set up over there. He was a retired military guy. He didn't get into the dope game till probably in his mid to late 40s when he had already retired. He had 20 or 25 years in the military.
The North Carolina mob is run by men who know a lot about the military. 10 of the top men in this organization are former sergeants in the Army or the Air Force. Federal authorities identify this man as the head of the North Carolina mob. Leslie Ike Atkinson, Goldsboro, North Carolina, former Master Sergeant, United States Army.
Number one, I don't know no other black guy had no drugs that weren't cut. I don't know not a single one. I've been in Marion, I've been in Atlanta, I've been in Lewisburg, stationed in these places and everything like that.
Until his retirement last year, Martin Pera directed the federal government's investigation of the North Carolina mob. Pera says law enforcement officials were slow to acknowledge the importance of this new mob because its leaders are black, not mafia members.
To start working on these upstarts, on these new people, wasn't interesting because you got the most points for working on a good mafia guy who had been memorialized as a bad guy from way back.
There was like a lot of, not just black, but a lot of retired black non-commissioned officers that were kind of into gambling, and they would gamble with each other, and they would be in Germany and Thailand. And then Vietnam kicks off, and Ike is able to use his credentials to move around military bases, and he starts sending stuff directly from Thailand in Goldsboro, North Carolina, of all places, circa maybe, it's hard to know when it started, but by 75 or 6, 7, the feds knew it to be the epicenter, more so even than New York, of the H traffic in the United States. So as you can see from that report, the federal government took Ike Atkinson's activities and others around him very, very seriously. I mean, there was spin-off other soldier groups around Ike, like a guy named Dan Birch. They hit him for bringing in like 100 keys a year. Remember, we're talking about untouched H straight from Thailand. One key of that back then that they were probably paying $5,000 for in Thailand. By the time it hit the streets, maybe $500,000. So just enormous sums of not just money, but profit was being made. But
I never met a black dope dealer that said I had some pure stuff. Not one. Every situation comes up, it's always that damn fool, they just keep cutting it and cutting it and cutting it and cutting it. If you want it, you can take it. If you don't, you don't.
Is this network of black, non-commissioned military officers still active today?
Oh, yes, I would say so.
This is black organized crime?
Yes, in a nutshell, that's exactly what it is.
There have always been blacks in organized crime operations, but never at the top. This new mob has already staked out much of the heroin business for itself, and authorities say it is beginning to use its well-disciplined organization to compete with the mafia in other areas of criminal activity. The North Carolina mob is this country's newest organized crime family.
There was a big availability of heroin, white heroin that was purer than the heroin that was coming in from Europe and from Mexico. The heroin from Europe and Mexico generally had been diluted quite a bit. But in the area, the heroin was coming over that was very pure. Two major traffickers involved. One was Leslie Atkins, and the other one was Herman Jackson. And reportedly, both had a club over in Thailand. But the Leslie Atkins and Herman Jackson, they were major violators.
It never crossed my mind to take off. I always felt that one of my lawyers would get me out of this. And John, my lawyer in Florida's father was also a district court judge, but not over our district here. He was out of middle district, like out of Minnesota and places like that. And I had John McConnell in this law firm here, and the lawyer I had out of Fayetteville, Numbox, and everything like that. I felt that I might have to do 3 or 4 years, but I was going to get out.